Hello and welcome to the world building episode for Campaign 2 Frontiers. This is a new territory for us. This is us building a planet from the ground up, and we don't know what's going to happen. Much like most of the season, a lot of this will be done by chance. Yeah. So we're playing a little game called The Quiet. Typically, The Quiet Year is about a community preparing for an apocalypse or a sort of like world-ending event. In this case, we're doing something almost completely opposite. This is a community trying to get themselves up to code before bureaucracy shows up to greenlight the colony on this new planet. A bit of backstory. I don't want to get too much into it because that will be a big main focus of the campaign, but in the place that Euceron once was, a planet magically appears 25 years after the events of Campaign 1 and the Reckoning. There is a rush to settle this planet, explore it, figure out where it came from, and whether or not it's a viable home for the people who were displaced both from events prior to the Reckoning and because of the Reckoning. This could be a home planet for the people of the Cube and humans. This could be a new planet for the people who fled Euceron. So there's a lot of weight being put on this, but one of the things is they want to make sure they do it correctly. And that is what our job is right now as world builders, is to make a settlement that is going to thrive and will support the people of Casamal. We will be working our way through the seasons, starting in spring, summer, fall, and then winter. Winter can be cut short at any moment if we draw what is known as the Frost Shepherds, but in this case, it's going to be bureaucracy showing up and doing a assessment of the colony. We're going to start off very, very simply by briefly discussing what we think this planet looks like, specifically the continent that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, we're looking at it on roll 20.
We are looking at it on Roll20. If you can't see the video, it's because you're not part of our Patreon and you're listening to it. So go to our Patreon. You'll be able to see all these visuals.
If not, I will describe it as well as I can.
Don't worry. Our art that we're slowly going to add, I'm sure, will be worth seeing.
Will be incredible, I'm sure. What are your first thoughts of when you first close your eyes and you're standing on a new planet that you want to play and spend a campaign on? What do you see in terms of just quality? I guess, are we seeing rocks? Are we seeing grass? Are we seeing deserts?
We're not placing things yet. This is just general.
This is, the vibe. This is the sort of palette in which we are going to be playing on.
So I don't know if I'm just being too swayed by the magical appearance of this place, but in my mind, it is somewhat magically charged and or messed up from that. And I see weird colored clouds and mountains that have been shattered but still kind of keep their form but in floating rocks.
Okay. Ryan, what are you thinking?
I was going to do a bit on mountains, so now I have to come up with a new bit.
What mountain bit? Are your mountains cooler than mine?
No, your mountain's way cooler than mine, dude. Don't even talk about my mountains. I don't even want to bring it up.
Fucking tell me about your mountains.
Ryan's embarrassed about his mountains.
It's to me, this whole time we've talked about this, there have been some very tall fucking trees. I think I don't think it's everywhere, but I think there is a patch of redwood level forest, huge giant trees packed together. Maybe that's something we've seen in the distance, but maybe, yeah, we'll put it eventually. But I picture big, strong trees and a lot of pine trees in my head. All the trees to me are maybe that's the Canadian in me, but I just picture vast, dense pine trees,
Okay.
And also, they're multicolored, too. I'm just kidding. They're not. I just wanted to be cool like Niall.
I feel like we've kind of jumped the shark, so I'm going to just say, Niall and Ryan, Niall, add your cool shattered mountains somewhere.
Oh, God.
And
okay, I'm going to try this.
Ryan, you're going to be adding in some really, really tall trees. Now, this doesn't have to, God. Just put them somewhere to represent sort of the main concentration. We can sort of extrapolate and think that they are kind of all over the place, but you don't need to put them everywhere that you think they may be. For me, I'm seeing sort of a really cool riverlands, like a sort of almost like marsh-esque, just sprawling like veins of water. So I think that's what I'm going to add into my situation. I like that you guys are using your trackpads and I'm using a mouse, and I'm very concerned that my art is going to be significantly more shit than yours, and I'll have no excuse.
I don't know. Okay, you got there, Ryan.
Is this a tree? Is it a blob? I have no idea.
I was so worried for a second because I was like, that is it's nothing, but it is a tree.
Thank you, Niall, for the compliment.
Yeah, it's river time, baby.
Oh shit, it's river time. I guess that end of the map will be the river side.
I see what you did there.
Oh God.
Ooh, okay, Dane. Try to shame us with your clear, crisp lines.
Yeah.
That's mouse power,
Hey,
baby.
my weed plant, my bush is great.
Your bush is great. I kind of like my little wizard hat stone thing.
Okay, we've each added a piece. Again, we're only supposed to go around once, but because there's only 3 of us, we're going to go around again and add a new geological feature.
So I mentioned crazy clouds earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about a mystical part of this planet is that the clouds fuck with like ship sensors and stuff. And there's like really heavy cloud cover. So maybe it makes planet travel more like land and sea based as opposed to just being able to like, cool, we hop on our ship and we fly that way. Because then it keeps parts of the world like exciting and like off limits. And maybe even then it's like to be able to land, you need to have like a machine that like sends whatever up into the air to like create a space of like empty cloud so that you can actually land a ship safely and stuff. I think that could be really cool.
Let's not get too far ahead in terms of like building stuff. Just like if you want to include clouds, throw clouds in. But like let's not go too far ahead in terms of like repercussions. This is just adding geological and features.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to go add what I think is just very cool. And that's going to be a black iron oil rig just like standing in the ocean. It's super mysterious. Huh. This big like wrought iron that seems oil rig-esque, but no one really knows. Have they found it? Who knows?
What do you think of Ryan?
Neat. Oh man, I got trees on the brain now. I'm gonna mix it up.
Just another tree.
Just another tree. I feel like that, knowing who I am and who I've played, is that I'm gonna add a desert of blood red sand. Ooh. I'm gonna claim this little nub.
We got a little red sand nub. Okay.
And by nub, I meant there's a little peninsula on the bottom right of the map that's just like little nubby.
Okay, cool. So we've got ourselves an oil rig. We got some exploding mountains. We've got a riverlands. We got some giant-ass trees. We have a red desert. I think I'm going to add... I'm going to stick with this sort of like full ground cover thing that Ryan and I are going with. And I'm going to say that this island up here, there's like an island to the north up here that is just like black glass, like obsidian.
Nice.
And there's no real reason why. There's no volcano or anything nearby. It's just completely glassed over. And one final step before we enter into our first season, we must define some resources available to our settlement. So Ryan, we'll start with you. List a resource that's important to this community.
I like the idea that there is a large migrating herd that we hunt on a regular basis that comes every couple weeks in like a pattern. A herd of beasts. I'm not sure what kind of beasts, but beasts.
Okay. So like recurring food, huntable food?
Correct. Yeah, huntable food.
Okay.
Like sheep in Catan, except you gotta chase them.
Now?
I just keep thinking of like these like weird like local stones that are like they're like magnetic, but they're like an energy source.
Okay. We need to find. If I know anything about capitalism, is that we need to find a vein of those bad boys.
It's called surge stone.
And for me, I think the slate underneath the river is a sort of like weird, almost like plastic-like substance. So if you can like pull it up, and there's a certain amount of time after it's out of the water that it's completely malleable and like shapeable, and it's a very useful construction material, but there's like it's a very finite window in which you have to like kind of like figure out what you want to do with it. So it can't be like mass harvested. I'm going to call it shape slate.
That's exactly what I was thinking for it.
Shape slate. We're great at names.
Now here's the fun part. Only one of those is in abundance. The other two are in scarcity.
I think we should go with food as abundant.
I like the idea that these beasts, like we're hunting them and they just kind of like show up again and then they show up again.
Is that a good thing? We don't know.
I'm sure it'll never change.
And that these surge stones and shape slate are finite resources.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So whoever's note taking,
yes,
add the wandering herd as our abundance and shape slate and surge stones as scarcities. Okay, we've added our sort of like big geological features. We are ready to start drawing cards and going through the weeks. With the arrival of spring, the world emerges from the darkness of winter. The decay and death the frigid cold brought now nourishes the land, bringing new life. Grass grows greener, flowers bloom, and the trees bud with eagerness to offer their shade in the coming summer's heat. As the natural world awakens from its slumber, their songs and stings become the harbinger of a new year and all the new opportunities that come with it. We're going to go in order of the way that I see us on the screen, which is Ryan. So I'm going to draw you a card.
Nice.
And then I'm going to tell you what it is. So you got the Jack of Spring, or Jack of Hearts, sorry.
You see a good omen. What is it? Or you see a bad omen. What is it?
So you choose one of those two prompts and answer it.
Okay, like as if I'm someone who landed here kind of thing, like not in character, but like from that perspective. I think I see like it's a bad omen.
Oh no.
Yeah, and the thing I see that makes me think bad things are coming is I see like a human-sized bat, but it's flightless. Like it doesn't have wings. It just has a like bat body and weird crawly things. And it's like a dark purple.
This sucks, man.
With like dripping green goop from its mouth. And I'm walking by, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go look for berries. And I look out and in the forest, I see this thing for a split second. It sticks in my brain.
Go back, you're like, this is a bad idea, guys.
Guys, we're not going to go out there today. And then a storm happens, like literally an hour later, even though there wasn't a cloud in the sky.
So you've immediately, right off the bat, made our first cryptid.
Yes. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously.
Whoever's doing the note taking, can you add in the important, like, characters or whatever, just like bat cryptid,
flightless bat monster,
flightless bat. I got ya. Flightless.
Okay, we don't have any projects going because it's our first round. So Ryan, you now get to take an action, which is either hold a discussion, start a project, or discover something new.
I'm going to start a project. What are those?
So you tell me what you think is important to do. So if you want to start setting up something, you want to start working on something, investigating something, whatever, you say, we're going to start a project to do X, and then kind of collaboratively we determine how long that project will take.
Cool. I'm going to start a project of building an observation tower.
Okay.
Of like a space for people to set up, like to all like look for fires and fire watch, but also to like see what's around us, you know?
Great. So I'd say on this case, just put a little X of your proposed building site.
Do we know where the settlement is? Have we decided where?
Yeah. We have not decided that. No.
Is this the moment where we decide, or?
I mean, if Ryan is choosing that the observation tower is part of the settlement, then yes.
All right. Where do we want to put it?
No, we don't get to ask. You make a choice.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm so glad that's not me making this choice.
Oh god. Okay.
Just think of the weight of all the listeners' disappointment if you pick the wrong spot.
Yeah. Well, if I know anything about building settlements, which I definitely don't, I feel like we should be sort of near the rivers. So I'm going to put us right here.
That's the proposed building site for the observation tower?
Proposed building site.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like and the settlement. I made it really big, but like.
That's a thick dot. It's so fucking thick.
Let's say, I think this is a pretty big project, I'm going to say either 3 or 4 weeks. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that makes sense. So I wanted to have a bunch of stuff in it. So
yeah, okay. So let's go on the top end. Let's say 4 weeks.
I'm going to call it Research Tower.
Oh shit, Bat People Tower.
Started by
these things suck tower.
Yeah, they can't fly, so let's get as high as we can. This is 9 of Hearts for you now.
A charismatic young girl convinces May to help her with an elaborate scheme. What is it? Who joins her endeavors? Or a charismatic young girl tries to tempt Minnie into sinful or dangerous activity. Why does she do this? How does the community respond? I feel like if you're a young girl at this settlement and you're trying to tempt people, it's gotta be, we gotta go check out the island, right? Like you see this black obsidian island, it's gotta be, let's fucking go, let's build a raft, like fuck the old people, they're all building towers and shit. We're gonna go, we're gonna try to check out this cool fucking haunted island, because that's what they've started calling it.
Okay.
How does the community respond? Put the kids to work. They're like, no, we can't. These guys are like, they're not being given enough supervision. They definitely like find out about the plot, stop it. And I think they start trying to get the kids involved more in like the town, knowing that like being new in this area is like not safe. But while they're doing that, they keep spreading rumors about that really bad things are happening on the island to like try to scare the kids. So it almost becomes like a fairy tale, like boogeyman kind of situation.
Gotcha.
Love it.
Okay, then tick down 1 week for the observation tower, and time for you to take an action. You can start a project, you can hold a discussion, or you can discover something new.
I want to discover a bunch of human remains near the coast where the island is. I think one of the elders, while like, or one of the like first kind of like settlers, while trying to make sure that like people aren't going off that way, does come across like worrying human remains. So like maybe there's more to the haunting fake story than they'd like to admit.
Okay, cool. Throw some bones on the old map where they found them. Mm-hmm. Now, and I do want to specify, because we are playing a space system, are they specifically human, or do you just mean humanoid bones?
I mean just like intelligent creatures.
Yes, okay.
Maybe it's, I won't say whether or not they actually know where they came from. Maybe they're too messed up to tell.
Sure. Cool. All right. The 3 of Hearts. Someone new arrives. Who? 2 of the community's younger members get into a fight. What provoked them?
Oh.
I think I have to follow this thread that Niles just started. I think there are 2 distinct camps of like the younger folk. I think there's this girl who's like trying to go out to this island, and maybe like even more than that, like once the island plan gets kiboshed, she's like, well then fine, fuck it, we're gonna go out to the rivers and like see what's out there, and then like she just keeps getting shut down. And then I think there's some more responsible, like duty bound young kids, maybe like a little older,
dutiful teens,
yeah, like slightly older, and being like, this isn't like a playground, this isn't a fucking game, this isn't a whatever. And I think they butt heads, but I think the older kids try to start like taking the role of like mentor, and trying to like really be like, okay, look, you're going to do this and you're going to be stupid about it. So instead of like letting you wander off into the fucking Riverlands, we're going to put together a small little group and we're going to do like a little field trip to like the edge and just sort of like sate their curiosity, as opposed to letting them like, so there's almost like this weird kind of like older teen, sort of preteen, like adventuring squad, but the teens are taking care to do it safely.
These guys are going to be way better adventurers than us.
I know.
They're going to be our main rivals. We're going to be like grizzled, battled hardy, like 30-year-olds, and these teens are going to be completing all our quests.
We should name this woman, this girl. Like, we should give her a name. Yeah, she's already come up twice.
Sure.
And by someone, I mean not me. What should I call her? What should her place name be?
Maybe like Explorer Girl for now, just so we remember.
Explorer Child.
I'm going to start a project because we have this observation tower getting set up, but we don't have any sort of defenses. So I'm going to start a project to make a perimeter wall, kind of around where we're now building this tower, to give us a little bit of shelter from elements from the bat thing that some guy saw when he was picking berries.
Yeah, my townsfolk are asking the fence people to start there. Start the fence at that part. It doesn't even matter if you don't get the whole thing. Start there.
I am going to start a fence building mission. Again, I think this is a pretty big project, so I'm going to say I think like 3 weeks to get like just a rough perimeter around.
Yeah, I think it won't be as much as like engineering a freestanding structure, but
just like the sheer amount of like getting that much space cordoned off and making sure they're secure. Yeah, I'm good with 3 if you guys like 3.
So I tick 1 off for the tower.
Yes, yeah, we remove 1 from the tower as well, so it should be down to 2 now, right?
Yep,
cool.
And you're at 3. Okay.
All right, Ace of Hearts for you, Ryan.
Ace of Hearts. Are we still in spring?
Oh yeah.
What group has the highest status in the community? What must people do to gain inclusion in this group? Or are there distinct family units in the community? If so, what family structures are common? Okay. So for the group status thing, we obviously have our councils already. But I think we're thinking of status outside of like a political climate. We're thinking like what group is very influential, like not just from a political point of view, correct? You guys can't talk. All right. So I'm going to say that there is a group called, oh God, I'm coming up with some really dumb names. I'm trying to find a better one. The Copper Cutlasses. They're a small, maybe the first, like, I don't want to call them a cult, but like they're like-minded individuals who have come together. And when you become a member, you get a copper cutlass yourself, which they do wear, which is legal because they say it's just like a representation. No one actually has seen anyone draw one. No one knows how sharp they are, but they're pretty secluded right now. They give off stonemason vibes. So yeah, so to become a member, you sort of have to do 3 major feats for an existing member. So you have to do 3 tasks of their choosing. If you're able to succeed, you get to become a member of their not cult.
Hell yeah. So let's tick down all the projects.
And I'm going to add...
and then you get to take your action.
I'm going to discover something new.
Hell yeah.
So does it has to be near the settlement, or can it be anywhere?
Nope. It can be anything, as long as like there's a reason that it's now on people's radar. Like
I feel like there was a boating expedition sort of out around riverlands to the east of the settlement, and they went north to what only I can describe as a knife-shaped island. And on the coast of a knife-shaped island, they saw what looks like a couple bubbling springs, but the liquid was gold. So they saw this bubbling gold liquid, but there wasn't a proper place to dock the ship. And somebody, like the captain on board, was pretty unsettled by it, even because it looked too welcoming. So they turned around. So they just know that there's bubbling springs of a gold liquid on the eastern tip of Knife-Shaped Island.
Just the tip?
Niall, the 5 of Hearts.
5 of Hearts. There's a disquieting legend about this place. What is it? Or alarming weather patterns destroy something. How and what? I think a strange colored cloud sweeps in and just absolutely scrambles communications for the settlement. There's weird like weather, but then you see these like clouds like start to change color and come in, and then all of a sudden they are completely cut off, which is particularly dangerous in these like early days of the settlement where like they rely on communication to get supplies, get what they need, and if anything goes wrong.
Tick down the projects. I think that might complete Ryan's
research tower's done.
Oh yeah, draw it on.
Then before we go, explain how the project completes.
The tower finishes. So the tower is like, it's metal. I feel like we came with some resources of stuff to pre-build. So this is probably a pretty modern looking tower. Like we brought enough resources with us on the ship, or however the first colonies arrived, to help sort of build us to start us off. So it's more of like a steel beacon of modernity in the middle of this town. So it's straight up, and it does have like a CN tower, or like Seattle tower kind of top to it, like
observation deck kind of thing?
Big observation deck, probably a couple like offices and like labs underneath it, and then just straight down that's like an elevator that takes you up,
and a spinning restaurant.
Yeah, well, we'll get to the restaurant. But yeah, so it's sleek. Right now it's sleek. It's steel. It's modern. It looks different than anything else around us because we're still so, like, the surroundings are fairly primitive still, but like this tower is a beacon of what is to come.
Cool. I'll let you draw that as Niall finishes his action.
I'm going to start a project to fix communications.
Okay, yeah.
It's we need them back, and it's very bad. Every moment that goes by with them down is one moment closer to us maybe dying.
I like how Niall's making and fixing his own problems.
Yeah, I could leave communications down if you want.
Cool. I think this is like a 2-week thing.
Yeah.
Like max. I don't think they're not going to send people who don't know how to like fix stuff down here.
Yeah, I think part of it is also just like trying to figure out what went wrong so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I think 1 week would be to fix it. 2 weeks would be to like ensure it doesn't happen again. Okay. For mine, number 4. What important and basic tool does the community lack? Where are you storing your food? Why is this a risky place to store things? I think the community is lacking like some pretty basic construction materials. I think they were sent down with the like starter kit, and I think that the terrain itself, we talked about how there was like, you know, these mountains that are kind of like shattering, but like not dissipating, like they're just kind of like orbiting. I think that's kind of what happens when you like break ground as well, where the ground doesn't like meld into what you're trying to build. So there's almost like an extra level of reinforcement. So if you dig a hole, you kind of have to like brace it with something. Like you have to like either like wall it in with like steel or something to make sure that it doesn't just start like floating off and away. And I think we are solely lacking like the extra materials to deal with that. Like we have the materials that if that wasn't a problem, we'd be fine. But because it is a problem, we didn't expect it. And now we're using like, if we had the, stuff for one house, it requires like 1.25 of that. So we're like, as we build, we're like, fuck, we have to scale back this. So like things are starting to get smaller to accommodate the extra building materials. Let's tick down our projects.
We got a wall, baby.
Oh shit, let's add a wall, baby. Man, our settlement's looking real ominous, like an eye now. That's okay. And I'm gonna discover something new. I think one of the things that we're noticing is that the herd that we're hunting is the exact same herd every time.
Huh. Like a time loop?
Oh, I can't ask questions.
There's something like one of the hunters was like, hold on, like what are the chances that the front animal would have like a broken horn? And then like every time it's like that same animals. And so it's like, they don't really have a way to prove it, but it seems like it's the same herd moving through. Every time.
That's unsettling.
That's pretty fucked up. Sustainability is off the charts though, bro.
Okay. It is the King of Hearts, Ryan.
A young boy starts digging in the ground and discovers something unexpected. What is it? Or an old man confesses to past crimes and atrocities. What has he done? Fuck that old man. A young boy digs just outside the settlement. He finds himself a tome in a language no one understands.
Okay.
Yeah, so he finds a tome bound in a strange material that, like, when you open it up, like, it's not even like the word, you can't understand the words. It's like it doesn't want you to understand it. Like the words keep on bouncing around on the page, and it's clearly mystic and freaky and has been here for a while. So they sort of just lock it away in a box for now until someone who knows more about this stuff arrives on the colony.
Take down your projects.
Communications are fixed.
Someone realizes that like the magnetism from the Surge Stone, if they use that in conjunction with the communications, occasionally those clouds will come by and there's like a radius around like communication tower where like the cloud will just like part. Who knows why?
Okay, take your action, Ryan.
Okay, my action is that I'm going to start on a project. Is that the copper cutlasses, in junction with some of the merchants, are going to finally sit down and make their shopping district. So they're going to map out a part of the settlement where they are going to build shops and make it more of a commercial area.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What are the copper cutlasses selling?
They are just taking lead right now. They're just trying to be the ones in the background setting things up. They're putting people where they think is best on purpose. So maybe the people who are paying them or members of their weird group are picking premium locations for their friends or for themselves. But for some reason, because of whoever's in charge, they have the ability to decide where everyone goes.
So it's mysterious. They're not shopkeepers. They're just taking charge on this. Okay, I like it.
Yeah. One of them might be a shopkeeper, one of the prominent members, but they do have enough say for whatever reason to decide who goes where.
Okay. Then I think if you're not building specifically, I think like 2 weeks to like sort of zone out, map out, like, get your permits, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think 2 weeks makes sense. All right, now you got the 8 of hearts.
An old piece of machinery is discovered, broken but perhaps repairable. What is it? What would it be useful for? Or an old piece of machinery is discovered, cursed and dangerous. How does the community destroy it? It's kind of a mixed blessing where they find, like after the initial dig, they have people going out and trying to discover more of these like books, and they find what's essentially like flat pack settler gear. So it's like one of those like packs that like will build you a home or like a building or whatever. And they find one that's like old. So it's like someone or something clearly was here at some point trying to settle, and there's no evidence of a settlement. And it just being unused is good because we get a little boost to our supplies, but it's an older style, and it means that whatever colony had come here before failed. And that's kind of ominous. So wherever this was before, someone had tried to settle it and it didn't work out, but we can scavenge part of their resources. So there's like one building in town that's like archaic because it's this like previous generation of this like flat pack, like prefab building.
Cool. Do we have any projects going? We do, right? We have the merchant
Shopping district. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Take it down and then take your action.
They're going to try to set up kind of like a rangers group just to like start not maintaining a perimeter, but like sending out like forays, just like we kind of have our center mass now like established. So we've seen a few worrying things, both from, the bat creatures and the corpses and the maybe time loop herds. I think it's establishing a group that needs to start wayfinding a little bit outside of the settlement now that we kind of have our base of operations.
Hey man, no one said the bat was real.
No one said it wasn't.
So are you starting a project then?
Yeah, I think project is like train up rangers.
Okay.
Or like establish like a city guard kind of thing.
Sure.
So what am I calling? Establish guard or establish rangers?
I'd say establish rangers.
Okay.
I would put this in like the 3 to 4 territory.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you need to find the people, find the space, and train the people.
Yeah. And I feel like it's as people are kind of falling off their initial projects too. Yeah. So it's not just like we don't just have enough people to kind of go ham on this.
Okay, cool. The warmth of the summer sun rejuvenates the mind, body, and soul. The labors of spring come to fruition. The days grow longer. It's easy to forget the ever-growing list of troubles in a season of such bounty, although the oppressive heat can only add to the hardships of those that continue to toil tirelessly. It is undeniable that these will be the best of the days to come. Someone tries to take control of the community by force. Do they succeed? Why do they do this? A headstrong community member decides to put one of their ideas in motion, start a foolish project. Well, I mean, I gotta do that.
Yeah.
So there's a dude who has landed here and is obviously here to like make a name for himself. Like he doesn't really like, he's not community focused. He's not goal focused. His goal is to like come and become famous. He's there to like put his name on a plaque somewhere, hopefully in like 10, 20 years, maybe even like get the settlement named after him. Because he's an idiot, I think he listens to like all the little kids who are like telling stories about like the bat, telling stories about the haunted glass island, telling stories about the Riverland. So I think he's super influenced by them. He's going to set out and do an expedition out to the glass island.
By himself?
By himself.
So the project is solo glass trip.
Solo glass expedition, yeah.
I think at least 3 weeks because he got to build a raft, doesn't he?
Yeah,
honestly, I'm going to give it 4. I think it's going to take some time to like get there, like get his shit together,
I guess
there.
We have no kind of idea of scale on this.
It's
starting to look a lot smaller. I guess it's not representative necessarily. I like the idea that he gets on his boat and is heading out, and like the way sometimes it's hard to tell over the water, it's actually a lot bigger than it looks. So he's like sailing and sailing and sailing, and it just keeps getting bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm clocking down Rangers and merchant settlement, or like the market district, is finished.
Okay, cool. What does that look like?
The copper cutlasses have like mapped it out. There are already a couple like storefronts being built from members of their own or people who got ahead of the game and sort of bribed them. And the rest of it is sort of already mapped out with little numbers in front of them for people to come to whoever's running it to sort of claim space. So those are now out. Those lots are now probably on auction or they're on lottery for the remaining lots that weren't nepotistically given away.
Do you want to section off like a pie graph where you think this merchant district is?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be north because it's going to be closer to the water for when we eventually create a port. So it's going to be the northern part of town.
Cool. I'm going to start another project as well, since the first foolish one was part of my card. I think they're going to research this old ass building because whatever it was built with is able to contain the like floating earth. So they're older and shittier, but they require less material. They can they make more bang for your buck. So I'm going to start a project to research a way to replicate that initial like flat pack home. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think time wise? I'm thinking like 3, maybe.
Yeah, I think 3. 4 seems a much, but 2 seems too easy if it's new tech or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Researching old house.
Ryan, you are the queen of diamonds.
A project finishes early. Which one? Why? If there are no projects underway, boredom leads to a quarrel. Well, there are projects, so I get to finish a project early. The research on the house finishes almost as soon as it started. It's like they were doing research on it and like they weren't getting anywhere. And then everyone went for lunch. And when they came back, it was just all there. Like it's like the house finished itself. Or someone came in and like there was something the wrong way that like it doesn't make any sense why it got done early, but it looked like something changed in the short amount they were gone to really reveal the true nature of it. Which is what, Dane?
It seems like it was made like the flat packs, the material look like it's stuff from this planet. Like somehow they have been able to like churn out wood, like particle board that has like the same sort of like chemical composition that reacts with the earth that binds it.
So it's sort of saying to us that like we really need to be using material from the planet to really cultivate the planet. So we can't cheat by like shipping stuff in from space. Okay. All right. Oh no, the observation tower. Hold it down.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm sure that will come up eventually.
Literally.
The ace of diamonds now.
A contingent within the community demand to be heard. Who are they? What are they asking for? Contingent within the community have acted on their frustrations. What have they damaged? And why did they damage it? Is it permanent? There's like a group of local kind of like blue collar workers, like the people who built the fences and the people who were like, you know, while they were putting in like backbreaking work, they're doing this and they're seeing the copper cutlasses not really put in the work or like work on self-gain, like setting up the mercantile district. And like they're more like while they've been grinding, like working this like very hard labor, these people have been solidifying a place and like not putting in the same amount of work. So I think out of protest or out of anger, they trash the little like refinery or like the little machine that is able to fabricate, the fabricator that can make their copper cutlasses. So the like home base, someone either breaks in or firebombs or whatever and destroys the machine that creates more of these copper cutlasses, kind of in a protest against what they see as like special treatment and them being cut out of almost like the progress and prosperity of the city while being the ones putting in the most work as they see it.
So the cutlasses are attacked.
Yeah. They have damaged their refinery or their fabricator for making more cutlasses. And it is not permanent, but it is definitely a setback and kind of like this increase in tension.
A part of me, for some reason, a part of me thinks that like one of the copper cutlasses is like a distant, like a relative of Nick's. like it's like his like third cousin twice removed trying to do his own thing. And this he's sort of like behind the scenes doing his own bit.
That's fair.
But now he's been attacked. Oh, I got to
Tick down your projects.
Our boy gets to the island.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, he doesn't. I lied to you. The Rangers are done. We're not on island yet. The Rangers are done, Niall.
Hell yeah. I think the first expedition of the Rangers, like they finally get enough people together. It's to go after this guy who they've belatedly realized is gone for the island. So they try to find him. They reach the shore. He isn't there, but it's kind of like the first like set mission. And it goes all right. No one gets lost. People are able to forage as they're going. Like, it's not exactly a very exciting mission, but people didn't die or get lost. And that's a success. Apart from this man who is nowhere to be found.
Cool. I'm adding the Rangers to important names.
And I think the project is going to be realizing that there is a lot of frustration and boredom, which has led people to go to the island and fight each other and blow up whatever. They're trying to build a brewery and like an entertainment district, more so like something that now they've got like the basics out of the way. They're going to build a pub. That's it. They're going to build a pub.
Okay. Just pub.
And there's conflict. Some people think the alcohol will further inflame things. Some people think it'll give them something to do and make them happy. But they all agree they need a bar.
So that's, to me, that's 3 or 4.
I think 3.
3, yeah. I think we've gotten like kind of the hang of building stuff, but I feel like there's infrastructure, like running water and that kind of stuff.
I think like the brewing process is the longest thing. It's like we've kind of figured out how to use these materials, so it's not as bad to actually like prop up. All we need is any kind of building for now, right? But it's like getting actual like alcohol and stuff and like fermenting and brewing and shit.
Yeah.
The 10 of diamonds. You discover a cache of supplies or resources. Add a new abundance. A scarcity has gone unaddressed for too long. Start a project that will alleviate that scarcity.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the project that alleviates the scarcity. I think they're going to try to figure out a way to lab grow the shape slate. They've realized that we need to use like material from the planet, and the shape slate is right there. So they're going to try to figure out a way of like figuring out what like the water pH is and set up like tanks that just grow shape slate in order to use that as like foundational building so that they can still use the material they have, but the shape slate is going to be like what holds everything in place. I think that's going to take a long time.
I think it's going to be max 6.
It seems like, is 6 the max? Oh, I was going to say 4.
6 is the max. Yeah. I think like the science of it, building the tanks, letting it actually grow and like figuring out how to like do it consistently. I think it's a tough one, but it's a game changer if we get to finish it.
I agree.
Tick down projects.
Everything but the shape slate because it just started.
I want to check in on our boy. I wish we could just cut to him and see how things are going with him.
Next time.
We just cut to, and he's just screaming as a storm rages on his boat.
I can't wait to name this guy.
This guy's definitely going to need.
I'm going to put Explorer.
You need Explorer? Yeah.
I'm going to say Crazy Explorer because we have Explorer Girl, but Crazy Explorer.
Cool. And then for my action, I'm going to start a project. We've got this like slate, but we know that the wood also works. I think I'm going to start a project to, some of the rangers are going to head out to the like massive trees that you can see, like even from where the settlement is, these trees are so fucking big that they're like, if we just cut down one of these, we might be okay. So they're going to start making a trek out to the massive forest.
I think that's going to be 5 or 6 because it's pretty far away. They have to cut down the big tree and they have to bring it back.
Yeah, I'm going to say 5 because I feel like it's not as difficult as replicating a natural.
No,
now,
maybe
is the tree where the tree is on the map, or is that tree indicative of there are forests like that all over?
I'll let Ryan decide since he was the one who put it there.
I think it's definitely a very specific part of the forest.
Cool.
But it could be bigger than that shape, so it could be a little bit closer. Like, I don't know how with the actual proximity of the size of the forest is up for debate, but yeah, it is definitely its own place.
Okay, cool. So they are heading down that way. All right. Yeah, let's say 5.
Yeah, I think 5 makes sense. Ryan, you are up with the 2 of diamonds.
Someone new arrives. Who? Why are they in distress? Or someone leaves the community. Who? What are they looking for? Okay, someone arrives. Why are they in distress?
I will say, I forgot to mention it, but for this particular thing, no one lives on this planet.
Yes.
So like anyone new arriving is coming off planet. Like we're not going to be like, and we found a dude in the desert.
Mm-hmm. Are we the only settlement? as far as we know.
Currently, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
A small group of Shirans arrive who say they're from the Church of Hylix, and they're in distress because they're looking for a place to sort of set down roots. So they decided to come here first, and they're interested in opening up a church in the settlement. So it's our first real group of religious entities approaching the settlement.
Cool.
I think that I answered all the questions.
Tick it down, baby. Tick it down.
Tick,
Is this our boy?
Tick. I think it's our boy. Yep, he's there, Dane.
The ship docks, crashes on the shore as I guess like the Rangers are kind of like patrolling, and the front of the ship is covered in that like glass, that obsidian, in like almost like shards. And when he comes out, he is also like his whole sort of like left side from like his neck down to his arm is also covered in that glass. And he refuses to talk about it.
All right.
Can we start a project to quarantine this man?
It's my go. I'm going to have our first discussion. I guess I either make a statement or ask a question, correct?
You make a statement, Niall goes, then I go, and then it's done. If you ask a question, Niall will state, I will go, and then you get to finish.
Okay. My question is, what do we do with Obsidian Man?
Clearly, this is some kind of infection and it's unsafe, and we can't just have him run rampant in the city until we know everyone is safe from whatever this is.
We need to know if it is transferable for sure, since he seems to have contracted it. If it is inert now that it's on him, fine. We definitely need to study it, but yes.
That begs the question. I believe we need to build, I don't want to call it a prison, but we need to build a secure location. So we need to build either a garrison or like a research center or something where stuff like this can be controlled and researched. I know I sort of said that was a tower, but I think we need something more. Like, I don't think we want a bunch of specimens in the tower. Like, I think we need to find a separate site.
No specimens in the tower.
The 5 of diamonds, Niall.
5 of diamonds. Project finishes early. What led to its early completion? Or weather's nice, people can feel the potential all around them. Start a new project. I really want to make this prison thing, but it feels weird to be like, wow, weather's great. Let's lock this man up. What project finishes early? Damn, we're really just kind of like, we're really speed running all of our.
I mean, that's the beauty of this game, is that's what summer feels like. So embrace it while we can.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the shape slate goes really quickly. Again, it's like this weird thing, almost like the planet wants to help us or something. But like, what should have taken 6 weeks is like they just kind of nail it.
Or the slate nails it, which is scary.
Yeah, like something like it's worrying the scientists. People are like, damn, you guys are killing it. And they're like, yeah, we are.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, someone accidentally drops in their sandwich from lunch and they turn around and it's gone and the slate is just bigger. It's like, huh.
Yeah. So like,
I like that all your solutions is lunch based.
Yeah, of course. Dude, when else do you do research? You got to go to lunch.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, so Shape Slate is all of a sudden it's up and running, which is good because, well, I guess we could tick off the rest of stuff first.
Pub is also done.
Pub is built. Yeah,
what's it called?
As the weather starts to get good, they've just kind of finished making the first brew, and it's like overproof. Like they managed to make this like 14% beer instead of the like 7 to like 5 that they were aiming for. But no one cares. Like people haven't been getting drunk because they had to really bring, the important stuff. So it's called Black Slate Bitters because it's more of like an English style, like ultra proof, like brown ale.
That's the beer, not the bar?
That's the beer. Yeah. The bar is called the Black Slate because I think everyone's kind of like excited by the island in the distance and like the news of your man coming back. And it's just like, it's on everyone's tongue. And like the bartender's like, fuck it. No such thing as bad press. Black Slate. And then I'm going to start a project to build a holding facility outside the town.
A holding research facility. Definitely not a prison yet.
No, the bars on the windows are aesthetic.
Okay. I say with
2, 3.
I would say maybe 3. Just for security purposes. Mm-hmm. But with the Shape Slate, I think like all of our production should be fairly easy now.
Now, are we keeping this guy outside the town at this point?
Yeah, he's tied to a tree. Building a facility to keep specimens.
And I think that's going to be on the north side, like closer to the water.
Not prisoners.
No.
I got the 9 of diamond. A project fails. Which one? Why?
Oh, God.
I think the prison fails. And it fails because there's no pressing need to do it. An industrious scientist takes a chance and touches the glass arm and nothing happens. And they realize that it is an inert, now that it's bonded on him, there is no and they do the same thing with the ship. There's nothing they don't know how it got transferred onto him or his ship, but it is no longer able to be moved from place to place.
We call that guy an idiot scientist who's just poking it
Yeah.
This guy's immediately kicked out of Science Academy.
Yeah, maybe it was one of his buddies who was just I trust you, and he's still kind of a pariah, but he is deemed safe. And so the prison is the foundation is there. It's just kind of sitting there, but they feel like their need to do things elsewhere is more important. Projects tick down, if we have any.
Well, the facility is dead, so it's just giant tree.
I'm gonna discover something new. One of those herds doesn't show up, and instead are found absolutely slaughtered outside of the town. Before they get into sight, when the herd doesn't show up, the rangers kind of go out and check things out, and they find that all that herd has been destroyed. And eaten, ravaged by something.
Spooky.
Maybe a giant flightless bat.
Yeah, how bat-like are those bites?
There is green goo all over them.
Oh, God.
Is there?
What have
Oh, my God.
What have I done?
So, wait, does that mean we have scarcity of food?
No.
Not yet. Okay.
This herd might show up next week perfectly fine. We don't know how this works.
Hello, Spatium Dane, here to do the thing. It is good to be back, baby. You've heard me talk about it for the past little bit. We are in full swing of Campaign 2. Frontiers is off and running. This is our world building episode, obviously, as we prepare to generate the playing space in which Campaign 2 will take place. We had an excellent prologue from our friends over at Three Black Halflings and Candace the Magnificent that plays in this world. You may have already noticed some things that have kind of come up from the prologue that we made in this episode. You'll also notice that we are purposely not really naming some of the things. There's a lot of characters that are just known as Explorer Girl. That is because we are going to be handing that reign over to you. We are going to be holding a naming contest for some pretty major players in Campaign 2. So be sure to keep your eye out on the Discord, which will probably happen within the week that this comes out. So if you want to participate, all the details will be on the Discord. Check the announcements section for that and all the rules and all the details for that. We're really excited to see what you come up with. And this is a surefire way for individuals to make a pretty strong impact on the story right out of the gate. In terms of scheduling, the next episode that comes out will be our Session 0, in which you'll be introduced to the world properly, as I've sort of built on it from this episode. You'll be introduced to the new characters, and you'll get a sense of what we're going to be doing in Campaign 2. We're looking to do things a little differently this time around in terms of both presentation and content. So I'm really, really excited to see what you guys think. And I hope you're as excited as us to participate in it with us, because as I've mentioned before, Campaign 2 will focus pretty heavily on audience interaction. You will all be playing a role within this campaign with us, much through either the campaign votes or the quirks, conflicts, and catastrophe list. We are really, really excited to incorporate your ideas and your voices into the show. If that sounds like fun, if you're interested in that, please head on over to our Discord. Head on over to noquestcast.com, click the Discord link. You'll be invited in. We have a great community. I would wager to say it is one of the best online communities I've ever been a part of. Everyone is so nice. Everyone is so respectful. We're all just a bunch of nerds doing some nerdy things, and I love it. If you'd like to support the show and take part in some of the more exclusive like council votes and whatnot, or hear behind the scenes episodes such as like the 10-minute rest where we get down to the nitty gritties and talk about sort of like the most recent episode, you can find it at patreon.com/noquestcast, or head on over to noquestcast.com and click the Patreon link. We appreciate your support. It helps us make the show what it is. It helps us afford things like getting cool guests or hiring a musician to make custom music for this campaign. We're really excited about all that kind of stuff, and your support goes a long way in helping us achieve those goals. We hope you enjoy the rest of this episode, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time for Session 0. In the meantime, please be safe and be kind. A breeze that carries a distinctive chill marks the arrival of fall. As the season changes, so too do the colors of the leaves. The brisk autumn air is a refreshing welcome from the sweltering days of summer. The landscape breathes its last beautiful breath of life as it clings to the waning warmth of the sun, fighting as valiantly as it can to resist the impending frost, soon to cover what remains. We are now in fall.
Oh
man.
No. That went quick.
It says we're getting used to the game.
The 2 of clubs.
Oh no. Someone returns to the community where were they? You find a body. Do people recognize who it is? What happened? They find the body of Slate Man.
Oh.
But they find him outside of town. And the reason they go looking for him is that someone took the book, went in and got the book out of holding because people had forgotten about it. It was locked away. And when they went out to find the sort of look for him, they find him completely sprawled out. Every piece of obsidian has been picked out of his body and put around him in a circle. And the book is still on his chest.
That's cool.
So there's now an area that's like, maybe like, it's like you don't go there. The book was once again probably taken. And I've got a feeling the book was like, it's hidden. They hid it somewhere. I'm not going to say where because who knows? But the book has been hidden. And Slate and Obsidian Man is dead.
Okay. Sorry for anyone excited to name him.
Hey, you can still name him. You can still name him.
You can still name him.
Hey, he might get that plaque after all.
Dumbest fuck.
All right, tick down.
Good old Rye Guy, here to kill NPCs before they get too popular. I just deleted whatever the last project was. Giant Tree.
Is the Giant Tree done?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. The Rangers come back. They have not cut down a tree because they realize that it is like home to like a shit ton of animals. Like there's almost like a tree top village in the height of this thing of like sticks that have been woven together, and there's like this like monkey kind of weird funky thing up there that are like living. And they have like rudimentary huts. They're not like intelligent. They're not sentient. They're still animals, but they seem to have like a society. And they're like, yeah, no, fuck that. We're not going to pick a fight with these monkeys. They're like almost like feathered monkeys.
Man, these Rangers are chill as hell. I love it.
Yeah, they realize that like it could be kicking a hornet's nest if they like start disrupting this many local wildlife that also seem to like have the ability to build stuff.
Mm.
So I think they end up sort of like almost making like a conservation area of being like, this forest is off limits. We are respecting the population here, the animal population here.
So that helps dictate my project a little bit.
Chop them down anyway.
Kill monkeys.
Rogue lumberjacks.
The resources on the land seem to be a little bit hard with the herd being decimated and the trees not being a thing. So we're going to head to the sea and we're going to build our port so we can especially explore the islands right behind us and definitely not go to Obsidian Island. So port.
So question about when the obsidian was taken off of him.
Yeah.
Was it still there or is it gone?
Oh no, they built it. They put it in a circle around him with the book in the middle. Yeah. So the obsidian's still there. So this man's obsidian is like an item. So it's like collected on its own.
Was it like laid out or like jabbed into the ground?
It was jabbed into the ground, yeah. So maybe it was a ritual that didn't go right. Maybe it
did go right.
Maybe it did go right. We don't know. Nothing was left. Like the body was still there.
Do we know how he died?
No. So the Copper Cutlasses, I think, have learned their lesson. So they're working more in cooperation with like the settlement to help build the port. So this is an effort between like the council and the Cutlasses to show that the Cutlasses are working together. They're not a sketchy, slimy cult. They're just here to help. So they're going to help build the port. And I'm assuming 4 or 5 because it's a bigger thing.
Yeah, I think like 4.
Yeah, I will say 4, and with like the inclusion of like they have like warehouses, like dock warehouses and stuff. So it's a whole sort of like industrial area.
Awesome. That's it for me.
Niall, the 8 of clubs.
Oh dear. Someone sabotages a project and the project fails as a result. Who did this? Why? Someone is caught trying to sabotage the efforts of the community. How does the community respond?
You fucking come after my port, I swear to God.
I don't know if this is right, but I don't really like these Copper Cutlass guys. But, however, I think the Hylix priests, one of them is caught trying to sabotage the port and trying to blame it on the Copper Cutlasses because being pseudo culty, they see like a threat to their kind of like religious supremacy.
Aggressive priests of Hylix. I like that. That's different.
I don't know anything about Hylix. Is this totally against what they would do?
They're hive mind and community.
That could still be like, you're messing with our community. Like we see you as a threat. So I think, one of them is caught trying to sabotage the port, but while blaming it on the Copper Cutlasses.
All right, under important NPCs, let's put Rebel Hylix Priest. Because I feel like that is a noteworthy character.
And I think the community kind of gets a little suspicious and like angry and distrustful of these Hylix priests who kind of like, did they come down like officially with the like corpos or did they just kind of like arrive here?
They arrived here.
Yeah. So I think initially everybody kind of turned sour on having let them in. And my project, or I guess tick down stuff first. I think in return, the Hylix community try to put on a festival. They try to make the first like national holiday of this settlement to try to like be like, no, we're good people. Like this was a one-off incident, nothing to do with us. Like, look, we're here for the community. So they're going to start preparing to put on a festival in a couple of weeks.
Cool. So like an end of fall festival. So we say a 2?
I think 3 weeks. They're going to aim for end of fall, start of winter kind of deal. Like a Halloween almost.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to be like a harvest festival.
I got the 4 of clubs. The strongest among you dies. What caused the death? Or the weakest among you dies. Who's to blame for their death? I'm going to say the weakest. They're one of the like foremen who wasn't coming down for strength, but for expertise.
Not Tiny Steve.
Yeah, like a dude who's done this before on many other planets and in many other systems, was brought in for expertise. He's old as shit, so he wasn't really like doing the physical labor, but his knowledge was invaluable. He dies because I've just realized we've not put a whole lot of effort in making like a ton of accommodation. We've gotten like the resources of it, but we haven't really built a whole lot of housing. So I think everyone is still kind of like, outside of a few homes here and there that were like experiments, everyone's still living in sort of like these communal prefab bunkers that like everyone's been living in since they landed here. And I think everyone is kind of like, we're blaming sort of the people who are like, we're building a port, we're building a fucking merchant, a pub, like we're building all these like things of luxury without the necessities. And I think the laborers are getting a little upset at the people making the decisions.
That's very Wade Enterprise of us.
There's starting to be being like, we're kind of like losing the plot a little bit.
I think it makes sense because like there's money to be made in the merchant squatter, there's money to be made with the pub,
and
there's
winter's
money
coming
to be made in the port. You know, like those are the priorities here for the corpse.
Okay, tick down projects.
I definitely think we need to make some houses.
I'm going to start a project, and the laborers are going to start like. There's a shift in sort of focus, and they're still doing their jobs to get paid, but I think they're kind of like working overtime and now doing things like off the clock to set up homes. They've got access to the shape slate. They've got access to this knowledge of like mixing in materials with their building materials will make their houses, and they just start setting up like homes. Nothing fancy. They're all still kind of like a mix between sort of the modern stuff and the archaic things. It's almost like a hybrid, but they start setting up like their own homes, and they don't really give a shit if the people who are happy to like collect their paycheck are still in the bunkers. So I'm going to say this is probably going to take a while. I'm going to say like 4 weeks
4
to like set up their own homes because they're working like off hours.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, the 7 of clubs.
A project just isn't working out as expected. Radically change the nature of this project. When it resolves, you'll be responsible for telling the community how it went. Or something goes foul and supplies are ruined, attitude scarcity. I am going to radically change the nature of the Hylix Festival.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think everyone's just assumed these guys were priests of Hylix because they were all Sheeran. But as the festival gets closer and closer, we realize that no one actually asked which god these guys worship. So the festival won't be of Hylix. It might be of something else. I have until it finishes to come up with it.
Hell yeah. Okay, tick down your projects and take your action.
I think we need to discover something. I think it's been a bit. We've been working so hard.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of projects.
Do a lot of projects, which is good because I know we want to be focused on the settlement.
We're doing a lot of projects, yet did forget houses.
Did forget houses.
Literally every time I've played the Quiet Year, that has happened.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been ignoring these river lands. I think we discover that the rivers are full of fish. They're abundant with a new kind of fish that we're not sure of what it's like. It's like a super salmon.
They're going super salmon.
We're going, yeah. So we discover super salmon in the rivers.
Okay, Niall, the king of clubs.
King of clubs, baby. Natural disaster strikes the area. Choose one. You focus on getting everyone to safety, remove an abundance, and the project fails, or you focus on protecting your supplies and hard work at any cost. Several people die as a result. I feel like the people in charge wouldn't protect the people. So I think that's what's going to happen is, what natural disaster are we thinking? I don't know if I want to blow our load on that so soon. Fuck it. The original buildings all of a sudden drift free from the earth because of whatever gravity weird thing happened. It suddenly, like, there's no explanation for why or how. The stuff built after our like discoveries are fine, but it does mean the tower floats free. And while it's kind of hanging there, the people that move to save things move to save the supplies of the Surge Stone and the supplies, basically. And when it falls, there are people still in the city that were not warned, were not brought to safety. And as a result, I think a lot of the blue-collar workers are killed.
Oof.
So to be clear, the observation tower is now destroyed.
It is now
lifts up and
destroyed.
Okay.
Whether or not it's still in one piece and could be hoisted with less difficulty, I don't want to like take away things people have done. It has fallen among other buildings. I think that's the disaster. It was either that or a flood of man-bat creatures.
All right, take down our projects because none of them got destroyed.
What a good time for a festival.
Now we have the festival.
All right, Ryan. Yeah, I think you have to describe what this looks like.
Yeah, so obviously things aren't good. So what they do is that the festival is now a solemn event. The festival isn't now a harvest festival. It's about a memorial. This is the day where people pay respects to all the lives lost for the price of progress, for the price of moving the colony and the settlement forward and what this planet represents, which is a second chance for the system, the people of Euceron, the people of the Cube. Like, this is now a festival about more than Hylix, or more than, it's not even religion. They take the religion out of it for now. And this is now a day where everyone pays their respects to those who've come before them. So it's a solemn day. There's a large meal. Like, it's about getting everyone who's still here together. Maybe the corpos don't think that, but the church gets the people, the blue collar, the hard workers, the people, like, together, and they make it about community. And this sort of gets those people back together to sort of go through this hard time, and maybe creates that divide more so between the corporation and the actual people living here and doing the work. But Festival of Memoriam, or whatever, we'll come up with a better name.
Is there a specific god that they do worship then? If
No,
they're not?
I think the church pivots here, and they're like, we're just a cool place to hang out. They don't want to get got into it right now. They're more worried about community. So we don't know.
And they all start skateboarding.
Yeah, they all do skateboarding tricks. Yeah. If everyone pops an ollie.
All right, do your action.
Ooh, I think we need to back to square one, build another tower because we need sight lines, but we need to make sure that this is safe. So with what we've learned, I think we need a new observation deck. This time, I think we leave the center of the town. We build like 4 watchtowers, like one on each corner. So I think like 5 weeks to to do that. So it's like a bigger scale. And I think maybe if we can fold it in, repairing the hole in the fence that the fallen tower created, or that can be the site of one of them, maybe.
The Queen of Clubs. Disease spreads through the community. Choose one. You spend the week quarantining and treating the disease. Project dice are not reduced this week. Nobody knows what to do about it. Add health and fertility as a scarcity.
Damn. We should have done a lot more with the good times we had, boys.
Yeah.
I told you when we were like, oh, summer, you do so much. You're speedrunning. I was like, yeah, fall and winter's coming. Now that there's a little bit more shift of like the importance of community and like how bad things can go so quickly, I think we are going to focus on getting everyone to safety and quarantining and treating the disease. The disease, however, is small obsidian growths that they go back to sort of the body of the explorer. It's gone, and the obsidian like chunks that had been put in are now like mounds of earth. Like there's like now like ridges, almost like they've been buried, and when they dig through it, there's nothing. It's almost like they have turned into these mounds. They realize that like these obsidian growths can be sort of like removed, but it's a delicate procedure. So it takes all hands on deck to like get them out before it spreads.
Okay, and no projects go down, eh?
Nothing happens with the projects. No, I'm going to discover something new.
Can it be hot doctors?
I'm gonna start a project, and I think there's starting to be like a realization of this obsidian stuff might be a bigger problem than it is. And there's going to be a geological survey. They're going to like do sort of like a ground scan of where the obsidian was buried and try to match that elsewhere to see if there are other sites of like obsidian like turning into things. So they're going to just going to wander out like an exploratory science team and use this data to try to figure things out and see if this has like been done before, because they found the book here. So it might, you know what I mean? Like there could be a correlation. So I think this is going to be I think like 4 weeks is as they sort of like wander the surrounding areas trying to figure it out. So if you want to add obsidian earth scans,
oh yeah,
to the projects,
figure out the obsidian.
What's the sickness called, by the way?
Obsidian growths.
Obsidian.
I'll think on it.
That's the dumbest shit. We can't have a campaign about curing obsidian.
Can't we?
Ryan, the 5 of clubs.
The parish arrives. Who are they? Why have they chosen your community and for what? Or a small gang of marauders is making its way through the local terrain. Fuck marauders. The parish arrives. The parish is who the Sheerans have been waiting for. It's the rest of their community. And they are a group who spend more time worshiping a pantheon of gods than a single group. So they believe that there's a lot of benefit to spreading the love around, because they think it's dumb to think that your one god of fortune can do enough for your life to fix it. So they believe in praying to more of a pantheon. Maybe there's some evil gods in there, we don't know, but that's sort of their idea. They're the parish.
Okay, do your projects.
We got a port, baby.
We got a port. So the port opens up. So now we have access to more warehouses and storage. Because we realize the importance of like building things, we're taking local wood and making our own like actual wooden ships for exploration. And from here, we'll start hopefully mapping out the islands to the north and hopefully find more resources to help push the community and eventually start more settlements throughout the continent. And then I still have a thing. I'm going to discover something. I'm going to discover what's on this first little island closest to us. And we just find a bunch of goats.
You're all about finding animals.
Yeah, dude, we're in a new world. Of course, I'm all about finding animals. Yeah, they got some. They're all pink goats. It's an island of pink goats. Pink Goat Island.
Pink Goatee Club.
And they seem pretty chill, so this will probably be a place that they like build a watch post or a lighthouse. This is where they're going to build a lighthouse.
Okay. Well, you'll have to build your lighthouse on your next round.
I will.
This is Niall, the 10 of clubs.
10 of clubs. Harvest is here and plentiful and in abundance. Or cold autumn winds drive out your enemies. Remove a threatening force from the map and the area.
We don't have any of those.
There's the bats.
We don't know if the bat's real. It's a cryptid. We don't know.
They ate the herds.
It might just be one.
These weird, like, giant, almost like acorns, like pomelo-sized nuts are growing on a lot of trees towards the end of autumn. Those big trees, and like they're falling and they're like rolling down into the plains, like right outside the forest. It seems clear, like this is kind of how it grows. Like they build up, and as they grow, it creates these mounds. When they drop their acorns, they roll and plant, and the trees just kind of like keep growing that way. So these nuts are like rolling out of the forest, and all of a sudden we have this like plentiful amount of this food.
Yeah, I call it big nuts.
We got big nuts. No, they're
big nut forest.
They're like, they can be used as fuel, so they're like almost like diesel. So they just call them D's nuts.
God damn it.
No, but they're this like food source, and who knows, can you brew with it? Can you use it as fuel? Can you make paste that's either medicinal or grouting out of it? Nobody knows, but we got this abundance of big ol' nuts.
Love it.
Big ol' nuts.
And the houses are done.
Fuck yeah.
I was really worried we were going to see a disaster and our characters would arrive and be like, oh, just
nowhere
this is
to
the
live.
worst town ever.
Yeah, I'm going to add in the section of the houses. I think that's going to be, the green is the mercantile, right?
Mm-hmm. Also, Ryan, do you want to delete that tower now that it's dead?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say a good chunk of the city is like homes.
Nailed it.
Yeah, look at those houses. That's Space House right there.
Damn.
Sheesh.
We've got this really cool thing where the roofs don't line up with the houses. It's like this cool space.
It's a new style that they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
I think is it still your, it's your action, right?
Oh, it's my action. Yes. I think it's not the most fun option, but I think we need to build like a hospital. Like we've had a pretty bad scare of this disease and things kind of went south, and now we've got the housing out of the way. It's like we definitely need a medical center. So I know we said no med bays ever, but try to build a med bay.
To be there, this isn't a ship. We're okay.
Yeah, we're good.
So
also, you guys did get a med bay last time.
Yeah, true. Eventually. What do we think? 4?
I think 3. I think we like,
three makes sense. We've done a lot of advancement in like building technology.
Yeah. I guess it's not as big as a dock, right? So yeah they're going to try to get together and build a hospital in the wake of this kind of sickness that ran through.
As the final days of the year march dutifully past, escorting with it the frigid winds and blanketing snow that will ensure everything that once was is no longer. But with this final dirge of death and decay comes a solemn promise that if you can endure, everything that once was will be returned come spring. But first, winter's blanket of darkness must cover the land and everything and everyone within it. We are in winter, our final months. At any point in time, our game can end.
What happens to our projects?
What? Yeah, they exist mid completion as we start our game.
Now, is there a penalty if the inspectors arrive and things aren't up to code?
Yeah, there will be like in-game consequences to that.
God damn it. Wait, what do we need to do to be up to code?
I have a list of conditions.
God damn it. We should know these as settlers.
Nah.
My first event, the thing we discover is the checklist that we lost day 1.
I got a 3 of spades. Someone comes up with an ingenious solution to a big problem, and as a result, a project finishes early. What was their idea? Someone comes up with a plan to ensure safety and comfort during the coldest months. Start a project related to this. Someone like gets word of the fact that like the obsidian turned into big mounds and gets the idea of being like, well, we can literally create our own natural barrier if we get enough of this obsidian and plant it.
Was it that dumb scientist again? Was it his fucking idea?
It is the guy who touched the obsidian.
Okay, I'm going to call him a character. He's Obsidian Scientist.
My project's gonna be to assassinate this motherfucker.
And with the port, he's able to convince a couple sailors to head on out back out to Obsidian Island and try to harvest some of the obsidian in order to essentially what he wants to do is like plant a ridge around the settlement to give like a natural barrier.
I hate this guy.
And I think this is going to be like a 5-week thing. To pull this off, it's not going to be easy. I'm going to discover something new, and it is that the scan people who are out and about come across a chasm just out in the middle of nowhere that they know they're not going to look into it right now because they're doing something else. But that's what they come across. It's not really of importance to them, but there it is, just a giant fucking chasm, open wound in the ground.
Nice.
It is Ryan, the 8 of spade.
Winter is harsh, and desperation gives rise to fear-mongering. Choose one. Spend the week calming the masses and dispelling the violent settlements. The week ends immediately. Declare war on someone or something. This counts as starting a project. We're not war people yet, so the week is over.
Okay. Damn. Okay, so just nothing happens.
Yeah, the parish sort of gets in. They try to just like calm people down. Everyone takes a break.
Because I guess we have like the 3 factions right now where it's like the working class people, the copper cutlasses, and the parish, right?
Yeah.
What do we call the builders? The blue drivers? Because they're blue collar and they use screwdrivers? They need a name.
Are they a union? Like, we have to figure. We'll get to that. We'll figure that out.
That could be a faction that the Discord creates.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ace of spades.
Now is the time to conserve energy and resources. A project fails but gain an abundance. Now is the time for hurried labor and final efforts. A project finishes early but gain a scarcity. Okay. We harvest the obsidian. It ends early, but we lose like a lot of the people on one of the ships. Something goes terribly wrong, and our scarcity right now is like workers.
Oof.
Damn.
Because it's a disastrous trip. Something happens and they just like a full ship just gets engulfed in obsidian and everybody on it presumed dead. No one's going near this boat to check.
Oh, cool. You made a ghost ship, Niall. Thank you for making a damn ghost ship.
You're welcome.
Cool. And if this project finishes, the dude returns with like all of this obsidian, like shit tons of it. And for whatever reason, once it's harvested, again, it's kind of like the guy's arm, like it doesn't like cling on. So it's now just sort of an inert obsidian. He builds this ridge. He has like this protective sort of like valley along the sort of like southwestern side of the settlement.
The obsidian scans are done, Dane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell yeah. When the obsidian is planted, that's what binds, that's what like helps like nourish the wood so that it binds the earth. But they also find out that's what makes the earth like float. So that sort of like weird anti-gravity effect that ripped the tower out is a result of obsidian, like the ground being planted with obsidian. And they're starting to figure out that like perhaps all of the soil was once this like glass stuff.
God, we're making some crazy shit, dude. This is nuts.
As I'm going to discover something new, and it's that in the middle of the night now, over the bank of this wall that we've built of obsidian, people see like gleaming what they can only describe as eyes, as like something seems to be like attracted by the thing or just looking on it, or maybe they never noticed it before. But there have been frequent reports of like gleaming eyes in the distance staring at the wall.
More cryptids. I love it.
The 2 of spades. A headstrong community member takes charge of a community's work effort. A project fails and then a different project finishes early. A headstrong community member tries to take control of the community. How are they prevented from doing so? Due to the conflict, project dice are not reduced this week. Okay, what are the projects left?
Watchtowers and medical facility.
We need them both.
Oh no, what do I choose? One of the copper cutlasses. They're like the black sheep, whereas they do have an allegiance to the copper cutlasses, and they're very loyal, but they also have sort of like a empathetic heart and also are taking care of the community. They're kind of like split between this pledge they made and actually giving a shit about the people of the community. The Copper Cutlasses, I think, are trying to like slow down the hospital because they can't sell as much medicine and they can't sell as much, whatever.
They're
if
big
there is
pharma.
healthcare. Yeah, if they are able, if like the community is able to be healed and kept healthy, that's a huge revenue stream that will be cut off. So they're not necessarily like gonna destroy the hospital or anything, but they keep putting like roadblocks and like being like, oh, sorry, we can't get that shipment to you, whatever, because they're able to. Winter's coming, everyone's sick, people are getting colds, and they're able to sell this medicine at like a higher rate. This guy puts a stop to that and kind of creates a tension between him and the Copper Cutlasses, and as a result, like nothing gets done. So no projects advance this week.
So I guess cool Copper Cutlass guy needs a name as well.
Cool Copper Cutlass guy. I'm going to discover something new, and that's because of this like this shield around this natural shield that they built with the obsidian. There's all this like wind that's coming from the south of the island, and all this red sand is starting to get blown up and creating like almost these like weird hybrid like dust and snowstorms. But because of the shield, it's all kind of like mounting up against this natural barrier, and there's now sort of this weird almost like sand dune attached to it.
We're accidentally making a second desert.
I just can't imagine what's going to happen when our characters get dropped in the middle of this fucking shit show. We'll be like, well, there's man bats, but there's not man bats. Don't go to the island. You'll turn to fucking obsidian, maybe.
Hey, I made a nice part of the island that just has salmon, okay? Like, there's still nice parts.
That's sick sand. Ooh.
Dane's giving the island stubble. Now, I will say, for anyone not on the Patreon, you're missing some works of art. Some real, like, the houses don't look like tea lights. The lights don't look like infected balls. Or not lights, the eyes.
The 7 of spades.
7 of spades. What is winter like in the area? How do community members react to the weather? Well, Dane helped me out there. We've been having sand snowstorms.
Snowstorms.
Snowstorms. So
this one community member named Darude is really into it for some reason.
He's having a great time. So the snow is like red. Like it's like a red snow mix. So I think the community members are having a hard time because imagine how hard it is to shovel snow anyway, and picture half of that snow being sand. So it's frustrating to move around. It's not easy. Like when it melts, you're still leaving, like there's just sand everywhere. So I think they have to come up with more ingenious ideas to try to get through the next winter. So people will be working on different kinds of shovels. People like at the very least, it's giving the inventive people of the community a chance to solve a problem themselves. So there'll be a market. But on that note, watchtowers are done and the medical facility is done.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, we get these watchtowers up, and like the southwest watchtower is kind of the most manned, like because of those glowing eyes and just like fears of kind of what's out that way. But they're not able to glean anything at night. They still can't really tell. But every now and then, there's those reports keep coming in. As for the medical facility, they finally have this like hospital, and if people get sick, they can actually like have rooms and not just like spread it in these like in the community. And the Copper Cutlasses are not happy because healthcare is now kind of swapped from their like private model to currently a more public one.
Cool. And I'm going to start a project. The parish is going to build a church or a facility. They're going to build their own building where people can sort of be like, hey, what gods do you want represented here? Like they're willing to take suggestions of what people want to add to sort of their own little pantheon representation of this community. I'm assuming just 1 or 2.
Yeah, I would say like 2.
Cool. That's it for me.
The 6 of spades.
All right. Time has come to consolidate your efforts and your borders. Projects located outside the settlement fail. All remaining projects are reduced by 2 this week, or someone finds a curious opportunity on the edge of the map. Start a project related to this discovery. What do we need right now? Like, we kind of have the essentials covered, so I don't know what would be... But that's more fun. Okay, someone has found, while trudging through the Riverlands, that, like, extreme cold actually affects the shape slate. So someone has started a off-the-books private shape slate company where he's tearing up the actual shape slate and not the lab grown stuff, and trying to like form it into like taking like custom orders, going out trying to form it while it's cold, because it ends up being harder that way. So he has this kind of like off the books shape slate, like, but apparently it's harder and better, that like the refinery people aren't really happy about, but he's trying to keep it kind of his own thing.
Cool. So that's a project?
No, I think it's just an opportunity found.
Oh.
No, start a project related to this discovery.
Oh, yeah. Start a project. Yeah. So it's black market shape slate, in brackets,
2?
extra hard. Yeah.
2,
sure.
3, 2.
Yeah, 2 works.
And now stuff goes down.
Yep.
And or is he just, yeah. And now Niall's turn. Niall's
action, yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah, what's up?
We're running out of time before the people come to inspect the settlement. What else do we need to have done before they get here?
I would say farms. Like, we don't, like, we're relying on a lot of other resources right now. We don't really have a way to control our own food intake, or my really cool fucking lighthouse idea.
A means of transportation outside of ships could be incredibly useful.
Damn, we've really beefed it and forgotten some really important shit, huh?
Yeah, my lighthouse.
What about defenses as well, is my response to that.
And that's it.
Last one. Oh,
We have drawn the King of Spades, which means winter has come to a close. It's not surprising that at the site of Casamal's most devastating loss, a new home would magically appear. The system of second chances has long been known for providing hope to the hopeless. A light, even if it's just a sliver, always manages to break through the darkness of despair. This new world, this potential home to those who so desperately need one, is such a light. As brave explorers and scientists, builders and priests, merchants and doctors flood to this new planet, they find a world unlike any other. From the snow-capped mountains and their shattered peaks, to the towering forests teeming with life, to the rushing rivers of the north, to the red, arid sands of the south. Countless mysteries, dangers, and opportunities await those brave enough to venture out into the unknown and tame the wilds of these brand new frontiers.